with y'all.
Right.
I'm out. Like, this is too much. But he truly is boots on the ground. He truly does the work, and I truly appreciate that about him.
You ever been to one of his trips to Ghana?
To Africa? No. I want to go so bad, but I haven't made it yet.
You know, there's like this big year of return in Ghana. They they got black celebrities. Ludacris went to Gabron. What's the name of that country? Gabron, whatever. But anyway, they got rappers going. T.I. went to Ghana. Roland Martin went to Ghana too. And, you know, what do you think about black people going back to Africa?
I'm with it. I'm all about the Marcus Garvey movement. I'm with it. I mean, I have 5 children, right? 2 biological, 3 stepchildren. And it's not the easiest to uproot an entire family and move them. If I didn't have any children, I would be gone. I would be there. Because it would be just a lot easier of a transition. But there's so much that we can do there, you know, and our money goes so much further there than it does here, right? And our influence goes so much further there than it does here. So I'm 100%, I'm all about the movement. And I think everybody needs to go visit at the very least. I've had like 2 friends of mine from high school who went for New Year's, who were both in Ghana at the same time for New Year's.
Oh, okay.
You know, so people are going, and I'm here for it. Like, I can't wait till I get an opportunity to go. I have I have an infant, a 1-year-old, so we can't go right now.
I did.
He's too small, but that's too small for him to be on a plane for that long. He'd lose his mind. But
of course,
I would
go. I would go to Ghana, but I feel like it's like a money grab, and I feel like, why would I go back to the people that sold me? And then they going, and then I'm giving them money.
I don't see it that way at all.
You don't?
Mm-mm.
Why?
No, I think it's a different time, and I don't think it was. I think for those who did sell Africans into slavery, I don't think it was with the expectation of what the American slave trade was. Right. So you have to understand the American slave trade was very different. Slavery existed all across the world, like prior to the American slave trade, but not as violent and as demeaning as the American slave trade was. Like, that was a whole different animal. And I don't think they expected that or knew that at all, you know.
Yeah, slavery was different back then. And like in Nigeria, there's this article, something about how my great-grandfather, the slave owner or something like that, but he buried his slaves with him while he died and kept their chains and stuff like that. They lived with them. So it was kind of different. But
yeah, I think the expectation was different. So I think for those who did sell African people into slavery, Africans who sold other Africans into slavery, there was not the expectation that they would be, you know, violently abused and raped and murdered.
They didn't know that.
They didn't know that.
It was just acts of war. Prisoners.
Could be. You know, I wasn't there. I can't say what all of the reasoning was, but I don't believe that there was an expectation that it would turn out the way it did. Okay.
There's this movement called the ADOS movement. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. It stands for American Descendants of Slaves. The whole thing was reparations and how, and they were getting some backlash from black immigrants saying how they're being divisive and not including them and stuff like that. But their whole thing is, we built America, and immigrants came like around the 80s. So when black people actually want to fight for something for themselves, they get so much hate.
Yeah, but I think that we have to get, so this idea of individualism is a very Western ideology, right? In our African roots, in our African culture, we come from a very collectivist society, community, right? So this idea that, you know, Black Americans are different from Caribbean Americans, who are different from Haitian Americans, who are different from not Haitian American, you know, Haitians and Caribbeans and Africans. No, the Pan-Africanist perspective is that we are all one. We are all Africans of the diaspora. So we have to operate from that point of view. And I think if we did and we really worked collectively as a community, even if it wasn't all of us, but a good majority of us, we would see tremendous change.
What is Africa? 54 countries? And I feel like they have their own problems. Like, there's so much conflict in between them. And I'm pretty sure you can't go to different countries, and like with a passport, they have their own rules, and they not allowing certain people from different countries. So it's pretty divisive there too.
Yeah, it's also very colonized.
That too.
So, you know,
But
we have to look at the influence that it's had.
It's so corrupt too.
Yeah, again, colonized, right? So a lot of the influence that we see there is from our colonizers. They're from Europeans, you know, and they've made a tremendous impact on the motherland, on Africa, right? But I think, you know, regardless, I think we can't really get very caught up in the things that are negative. There's going to be negative things in every community and every group, right? But I think as Black people, we tend to magnify the things that are negative in our own community and not the things that are positive, right? You know, I hear people say, "Oh, Black people don't stick together." That's not true at all. I see lots of Black people, communities, groups that band together, that stick together, that pull together to make things happen. I see it all the time, right? So I think it's a matter of, if all you see is negativity, then you need to take a look at your own circle. And you need to take a look at what you're contributing to that circle as well.
All these people hating on me. Oh, so much drama, everybody.